Welcome, everybody. If anybody would like to add this to their Thanksgiving playlist, this song is called Stretchy Pants by Carrie Underwood. Good one to help get us in the mood. All right. Wow, let me move my screens around. Thank you, everyone, and welcome back to your Let's Talk Office Hours, your final one of 2024. This year absolutely flew by, and I can't wait to recap the year with you. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Sharon. I'm a Senior Client Success Manager here at K-12 Insight. I'm going to be guiding us through today's session, but it feels as though I know most of you who are here today, so welcome. With me, I have once again Olivia from our marketing team. She's going to be helping manage the chat and the polls, as well as get us all set up for our giveaway at the end. Olivia is a wealth of knowledge, so as you have questions, pop them in. She'll be able to help out. She can also has the power to interrupt me if we need to answer anything as a group, so we can do that. As always, I love to welcome us back with a poll, and I want to know, are y'all holiday ready? It's coming. Does everybody feel like, yep, bring it on? Maybe you're like, you know what, almost. I just have a few finishing touches, need to do this. I love that I'm seeing Thanksgiving is next week, because that's the boat that I'm in right now. I had that moment of, oh my gosh, it's here. So, okay, I'm glad that I'm not alone. I guess this poll was more just for moral support for me to know that I had you all out there with me. So today's agenda, while it might look kind of shorter but sweeter, it's actually going to be action-packed. In 2024, we rolled out more features than ever. You all know about our big ones, because you can't get me to stop talking about them, like our generative AI chatbot, our full-fledged call center with our call center capabilities and interactive dashboard. But we also made little tweaks and adjustments, quote unquote, behind the scenes to make your lives easier and more efficient in the platform. So to kick things off, we're going to dive right into those updates. I'm not going to lie, there's a lot, but I'm going to show you all of them in the platform. So if you'd like to follow along, you can go ahead and log in now if you haven't already. Once we're there, we're going to be working through our settings page on the left-hand panel. I'm then going to show us a dialogue. We'll end in our advanced search. After that, we're going to chat through what's to come in 2025, including some new ticket management for IT teams. And then we're going to wrap with our gift card giveaway. So let's go ahead and just dive right in. Here I am. We're going to come back to these with our dialogues from Tony Hawk and Shaquille O'Neal. But for us to get started, one little one, this is a tiny tweak, but oh so helpful, is that now in your out of office, you can set it the day of. You used to have to set it the day before, but we know that life happens and sometimes you need to set it the day of. So now you can do it. You might not have even noticed that that was an issue or that wasn't happening, but now it can happen. Oh, and hi, Deanne, I miss you too. I'm so glad you're here. All right, next up, we're gonna head under our account setup, and I'm actually gonna head into my users section. So there were some little tweaks that we made in here that can help clean up your user page. We were hearing from a lot of you of, as soon as you add a bunch, it gets busy, it gets overwhelming, you don't really know where to look if you have more users than what I do here with my small little handful. So first things first, we do have the search bar now up here. So if you want to search for a person's name, you can do this. But you also just saw me right here with this filter option. This is going to come up a few times for us today. So now you can go ahead and you can filter by role. Maybe you want to see, who do I have as my system admins or my global users? So I can take a look at those. One that I love is being able to look at your status. So if you're like, I know that there are people that I sent these activations to, they never did it, they've left the district, but I don't want to be going through page by page, I can do that. So I can go ahead and apply my filter. One other nice thing that we added is we now have the date added listed here in the platform. So you can know, hey, you know what? I added Buster, the dog, back in, what is that, February of 2022, and he's never logged in. Now, the one that I think a lot of system administrators are excited about is you now have the power to delete users who have never logged in. So if I'm like, you know what, I know that Buster's never going to log in, and neither is Gus the dog. I can just go ahead and select their names. I can select one or multiple. And under my more options here, I'm going to click there, and here I have my delete user. So this way, if you have people who have never logged in and you feel like they're junking up this user page, you now have the power to do that. Now, if you do have a user that you need to delete who has received a dialogue in the past, that still has to be done by our engineer team so we can uphold the integrity of our data, but you can go ahead and clean those up if you want at any time. Now, something else to note that I love is once you apply this filter, this will stay in place until you come back and either remove it or set a new filter. So this is really nice if you're like, I just want to log in and just see my active users on a daily basis. You can do that here. But if you ever come in and you're like, gosh, what's going on? You can clear them right here. So hopefully that helps keep your user page a little bit easier on the eyes, especially if you're coming from one of those big districts like Brian at Fresno, where you have just so many users in here. All right. Next up, we're going to head into our landing page / tab editor. Again, some little tweaks that we made in here, but things that can hopefully make your lives easier. So I'm going to go ahead and hop right into my school district again. For those of you that haven't been here before, I have 2 Newfoundlands, so we're here with our Newfie school district. So first thing that we added was the option for you to have a landing page manager. So this allows system admins like you to be able to delegate the building and managing of landing pages. So if you have department-specific landing pages, HR, enrollment, student services, etc., but you don't necessarily want those department heads to have full system admin access, use this feature. So right here on our right-hand side, we have our landing page manager option and this drop down where I can go ahead and select who else would I like to be helping me support in this form. I'm going to go ahead and give Buster access, and now he can come in and be helping me manage this. Another cool feature can be found under the design section. So for those of you that have our tab or our fab, you can now customize the colors to pick from. Now, I want to pause before I go too much further, because the fab is actually a new thing that we rolled out this year. We've always had the tab. If you've been here, you know what this is. It's that pop out. You have the little tab that's on the side of your page or down on the bottom. But now with the fab, you can choose to have a little circle, just like what you see with Chatsy. So if you feel as though the tab is overwhelming on your page or takes up too much space, the fab is a great option. So with our tab, previously you had a handful of colors that you had to pick from. They were fine, but a lot of times they didn't match the branding of your either district or of your school sites. And so we would submit them to our engineers and they would change them on the back end. Now, the nice thing is you now have the power to do this. So under design, I've selected my tab, and as I scroll down, I have my option for my tab color. And when I click this, I can go ahead and input my hex code. Now we do have a note here that says, make sure that you are keeping up with sufficient contrast, because we want to make sure that this is easy and accessible for everybody to be seeing. But a nice little added option for you to do there. Now, the last piece that will help with the building and managing of your landing pages is actually going to be under our topics manager. So I'm going to pop right back up. And this is that you can now import your topics. So you no longer have to add them one by one. Once your implementation is up and running, a lot of times you're adding them one by one, and that's great. That's fantastic. But if you're starting with a whole new department or maybe a new school or landing page, and you're like, gosh, I do not want to be doing these one-off, right up here, we now have the option to import your topics. We do give you a nice template to fill out. And then once that's been completed, you can upload it right here. So makes it really easy, saves you a lot of time as you're starting with those newer categories and topics. All right. And of course, as questions come up, drop them in here. Happy to go over any. Next, I'm going to take us over to our form builder. So again, I'm still under my account setup. I'm going to head to my forms. Now, we've all been here in many of our office hours, so we're not going to be going deep into them as we have in the past, but there are 2 small tweaks in here that can be a huge time saver when you're building forms. So first, I'm just going to pick student device. Sure, this is right here for me. You can now reorder your questions inside the question itself, and I'll show you that. Previously, you had to drag and drop them and could sometimes get stuck as you were doing it or want to go exactly where you'd like. So let's see if I just want to do, what type of device are you having a problem with? I go ahead and edit this question, I have my 3 little dots with my more that's going to show up. And then right away, it's going to give me the option to move question after. And I can choose in here what number I want to put it on. And it even gives me what is the question that I'm asking. So maybe I want this one to go right in between student number and device barcode. So I can just click right there and it's going to automatically move it for me, which is so, so helpful. Now, the other thing is that I'm going to go ahead and click save, and it's going to keep me on this page. If you had ever been in here before and you're trying to save as you went, as soon as you click save, it used to kick you back to that main form homepage. It will no longer do that. It will now keep you inside the form that you're working on. So I encourage you to save early, save often, and it'll keep you right in the page that you're on. So fun little update for us. All right, next, we're going to go to one that you have not heard me stop talking about this year, which is our chatbot. I hope you're not sick of hearing me talk about it, but I just think it's so incredible what our chatbot can do. The release of the generative one was already a huge leap forward from our previous version, and we have made a lot of small adjustments to make it even better since we've launched. So I'm going to hop now down into communication and under my resource center at the very bottom. For those of you that have chatbots, you've been here before, you've added in some resources. First thing I want to point out with our chatbot is it now offers a tailored customer experience based on the customer type. So when somebody starts their interaction, if they choose parent, guardian, or if they choose employee, the chatbot will now answer differently and offer a more personalized experience. So we're starting to give it more of those smarter touches for people to be interacting with. Second, now we have also launched the option to filter inside the resource center. So you heard me bring this up with our users. Once again, our filter is always going to be found in the same place, whether you're on your user page, your topics manager, here in our resource center, success messages, etc., always going to be found right here in the same spot. So if you need, you can go ahead and filter based off of status, our topics, our resource manager, or our expiration date. So you might be wondering, what did she just say? Leads me to my 2 next points. We have launched the option for you to have section managers and expiration dates. So let's go ahead and start with our expiration dates. These can come in handy if you're loading things in like a school calendar, enrollment information. I know some of y'all are loading in lunch menus, and these do change. So I can go ahead and click a resource that I already have right here. And down in my bottom right-hand corner, it's going to tell me no date selected. But you know what? I actually want this to expire in November 1st of 2025. So now I can see down here my expiration has been highlighted. And now once I save this, it's even going to tell me down here it's processing. And we can see it's going to say November 1st, 2025. So here's an example of another one with attendance that I had set it as October 1st of 2026. So you can always see those down there. Now, the other thing you heard me mention was a section manager. So previously, we've always had resource managers. We can see down here, I've added Buster Bluth as my attendance one. That meant that Buster could come in and manage just that one resource. He could refresh it. He could upload the document, but he was really only able to access that one. However, now, if I hover on my section right here, go ahead and click edit, it's going to give me the option to go ahead and add a section manager. So now I can assign Buster. Now he has full access to this. So this is great if you have questions for, again, your departments, human resources. Maybe it's a school site and you want to give a hungry principal access to this. I can see that my little bubble showed up. I can see that Buster Bluth is my manager, and he's now taking care of all of these for me. So take these off your plate, go ahead and delegate, let them help as needed. The other thing we've added is we now have better management when loading our resources. So let's go ahead and load one because I want to show this to you. Let me pull a website. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and just scan a web page and let's put this in. So right here, we have this added. Now, as I put this in, let's go ahead and call this updates, but you can see I have my option on what profile to add it to. If you were here last month, or if you've attended any of the previous webinars, you've heard me mention profiles. So now you can have different profiles for different categories or places inside of your platform. So for example, you can have department specific. So you can have an HR specific profile, and it will only answer questions related to HR that I have loaded in. Or you can have a school specific chatbot, and it can be specific to what's going on at that school. I can now assign that here. So for this, you know what? I actually want this to apply to all, but if I only wanted it to apply to HR technology, I can do that here. And then here's my option for expiration. So if I did want to set this as an expiration, to actually just have it the end of the month, I can apply right here. And now I no longer need to come back and be making those little tweaks on the back end. Previously, you had to then go into your profile to assign it to that one, but now you can go ahead and do it right in here. So if you would like to get a profile started, or if you're like, I have no idea what she's talking about, but this seems interesting, reach out to me, reach out to your CSM. We are more than happy to walk you through it and get it started. It's a really cool feature, especially for those of you who are branching out into your school sites or might have multiple campuses, etc. Now, before we leave chatbot land, I have to mention our new and improved dashboard. So if you didn't know, once you head into your dashboard, you now have your Let's Talk Assistant dashboard down below. We still have all of our basic info of how many questions were asked, sessions started, etc. Helpful, unhelpful, all of these are clickable so I can see what questions were asked. But the thing that I think is really cool is our trending themes. We can see with my chatbot, most people are asking about technology or enrollment. And then it's also giving me this top theme summary. So instead of me having to click through and read through all of those chatbot sessions, it's letting me know that the positive opinions with the clarity and accessibility of the online enrollment, but with some negative feedback, there's the necessity of in-person document submission, and that may pose a challenge for some families. So it's actually going through and reading what it is that people are asking and giving you these summaries. And you can carousel through all of these to get that high-level overview. And this is something that's really cool when you're sharing out information with maybe a superintendent, cabinet, board, etc. Now keep this in the back of your mind. Just file that away for an update that we have for later. All right, we've gone through our chatbot, we've looked at our form builder, we've seen those user updates. Let's talk about our dialogue management. Let's go ahead, and I'm actually just going to close these out. So there were a lot of cool little features that were added here. There we go, in this year to make your, there we go, main inbox and dialogue management a little bit easier. So with our inbox updates, you now have the option to sort based off of priority. This wasn't something that was here previously. So of course you have your little filter option again if you'd like, or you can just go ahead and click on it and surface to the top those critical ones or bring them down to the bottom. And if I do this, it's going to bring them right up to the top. For those of you that use critical alerts, you can see that the red is now, we've taken out those little dash lines that went through, so it's a little bit easier on the eye to see, but still goes ahead and highlights it for you. Another great thing is you can now, if you're going to bulk select and reply, previously if you had one customer who did not put in their email address, you could not bulk reply and you didn't know who it was, and it was really frustrating. We have eliminated that. So now you can go ahead and bulk reply. If there is somebody that doesn't have an email address, that will alert you and let you know, and you can go ahead and address those one off, but you can still send all those replies at once, which is really helpful. Now let's hop into our dialogue updates. So let's go ahead, let's open Tony Hawk's one. So a few little changes that we made. You now have the option to copy and paste a link to the dialogue if you need to share it with anyone. So if you come up here and hover over, you get your little copy dialogue link option. This is really helpful as you're sharing it with fellow coworkers and saying like, hey, can you check out dialogue number 00121? Here's a link to it. And we'll take them directly to that. Make sure they are added as a team member so that they can access it once you share it with them, but saves you time and gives them direct access to access it. Now with our reply to customer, you do have the option for spell check. So if you wanted, you could go ahead and let's say school, dress code. And so since I misspelled that, it should now check it for me. And down here, I have this option. There it is, that it can let me know what's going on. And if I hover over, oh, my Grammarly is also installed. So it's right on top of it. You can see, probably not see, but there's two little red lines letting me know both Grammarly and Let's Talk have flagged this. Another option that's been added that you might not have even known or even thought about, but now you can copy and paste with your mouse. So previously you could copy paste, but it had to be a keyboard command. Now it's something that you can do with a right click. So you might have never noticed, or it may have never inconvenienced you, but I thought it was a cool little piece. As we look at our dialogue assignment, under owner, this previously used to say me, but now it has your actual name in here. It says you in there. So a little less confusing. People had shared with us that sometimes it was hard to be like, wait, me, you, I'm not quite sure. So now your actual name will be in there. Actually, I want to hop into the Shaquille O'Neal one so that I can show you. Now when a workflow executes, it will let you know the name of the workflow. So previously it just used to say workflow executed. Now it's letting me know that it's changed the priority and what that workflow was that had gone ahead and done it for me. So if you see a workflow come through and you're like, that's not right, or that needs to be adjusted, now it's easier for you to track it down or to change it as needed, which is really, really nice. Let's go back to our dress code because we also now have the option to generate an AI response. So you do have to have resources loaded in for this to work. So if you've ever tried this and it says, I don't have an answer for that, and you don't have any resources in your resource manager, that is why. I'm gonna go ahead and click generate an AI response. It's going through my resources right now. It's reading what my original message was, and it should give me a nice answer. Oh, I wonder if it was because I had already typed in here before. It will put this out. So this is now a lesson for me, just so you know. If you try to type out a response and then ask it to generate, it might override it. Let's see if it will do it. But when I had tested this before, I had gone through what were my dress code resources that I had added, and it had actually listed all of them out for me of, it must be appropriate clothing, this, that, no logos, no gang signs, etc., and gave me a nice response that I could then send right to the customer. So could be a good learning for us that I might have tripped it up by trying to put in a response. So we'll let it keep thinking. And while that's thinking, let's come back over to our Shaquille O'Neal register for basketball. Something else that you saw launch was these dialogue themes. So this popped up in the middle of the year, and this feature automatically classifies each dialogue into present themes, helping you quickly understand the content of each dialogue. So this is not like tags, because all of these themes are standard across your Let's Talk account. These are all going to come into play in 2025. This was a little step that we made to make a big leap forward. So when you receive a dialogue, were AIs reading through and saying like, is this related to athletics? I think so. I'm going to go ahead and toggle this on. If you feel as though it's not correct, you can go ahead and toggle it off. And then if you feel as though this is taking up too much space, you can go ahead and click that little X and you saw it just disappear. Bring it up or close it in like that. Now, again, these will be coming into play, and that's a little teaser for what's going to come next year, and we'll talk about that with our 2025 release. Let's see if my dress code updated. I must have broke it. But if you have your resources in there, send yourself a fake dialogue, give it a try, see how those responses are. This can help save you a ton of time as well. All right, before we get into our new features coming in 2025, I want to talk through some data management pieces that came. So let's go ahead and close those out. So you can now define, schedule, and send yourself data exports, meaning that you can create a custom export and then have it sent to you via email or a secure SFTP location. I've had a lot of districts say, gosh, I really wish you could just email me all of the dialogues from this topic every month and I didn't have to go in and do this or do that. And the great thing is now you can. So if you didn't know, we have our search bar right here, but this advanced search, that doesn't mean that that's what this bar is. It means you can actually click on this advanced search right here. And let's go ahead. You can put in some keywords. You can always put in your origin information. So if you're like, I just want to see who text messaged me, that's a great option. You can choose your dialogue details. So if you're like, who still has in progress details, I want this sent to me every Friday so I can take a look at it, you can. Or if you want to do your topic or owner, you can as well. So let's just do general questions because I know in my fake account here that I have submitted there before. I'm going to go ahead and click search. And now here it's going to pull up all of the dialogues that have been submitted. And here I have my option to download. You get to choose the format in which you'd like it to do. I'm just going to choose Excel. That's how I like to read these when they get broken out. Word, it kind of sends you everything in one page. I like being able to look at it in Excel format. And now it's going to pull up what dialogue details do I want. So maybe I don't need my priority or my tags. Maybe I don't want IP address or customer type, and I do want all of this. As I continue along, I get to I'm not going to rename any fields, get to customize this of what I'm wanting. I have my dialogue details. I can move these around if I'd like to see how it's going to look. Again, I can do that with my customer information and my timeline. I can drag and drop these, continue on, and then here's kind of the glory of it is you get to choose how often you want this sent to you. So if you've ever been like, yes, please send this over, you can do that right here. So I can set in my export name, general questions, the dates that I want it sent from, and then here I can select how often I would like it to repeat, if at all. I can set a custom one. Maybe you want it every 3 days, you can do that. Or you can just say do not repeat. You do have the option to include private dialogues. Now, if you've set your private dialogues, there is an option inside your topics manager to not make those accessible. So that those might not be included if that has been enabled by that private dialogue topic team member, but that option is in here. And then here you have your option on how you want to export it to a secure SFTP location or to an email. Now, something to note is if you are going to email this out, you will need to do a two-factor authentication the very first time you're emailing it. So just something to know. If you're like, why is it asking me to it? It will ask you the first time you go ahead and do it, just to make sure that it's going to the correct person and that somebody's not trying to download this who shouldn't have hands on it. I'm gonna pause and see. We have something in the Q&A. Can you bulk reply to text messages? Yes, you can. That's a great question. Just like you saw me in our main dialogue page, you can even choose to go ahead, regardless of how they came in, email, text message, etc. You can do that all here and it will bulk reply to all those. Great question. Sorry, I missed that one when it came through, but hope that helps. Okay, that was kind of it. Will the recurring data exports file be titled by the date of export? I believe it will be titled that title that you go ahead and assign it, but it will have the dates in there that you've selected. Here you go, with whatever you're titling it right here, and then it will have your dates in there. I would show you it. Sometimes it does take a second for it to go through. So in the essence of time, I won't do it. But if you want to go ahead and test it after, you absolutely encourage you all to do that. So I know we went through a lot, and hopefully there were some things that were new to you. I will say, and I do want to stress that most of these improvements came from our user suggestions. We do not take those lightly when those come in. So if you ever have an idea or a suggestion on how we can make this better, You can always find it through the question mark up here next to your name in the settings. And then we have this feedback option here. This goes straight to our product team. A lot of times our CEO, Sue Hale, sees these, and we do work these in. So again, a lot of these came from you all, like those bulk reply options, the ability to go ahead and shrink down those dialogue themes. A lot of those came from what we were hearing from you all. So please make sure you're doing that. The other thing is we do post all of our updates in the Learning Center. Olivia will share the link and it will be included in the email recap that's sent out tomorrow as well, because this wasn't all encompassing. There were things that also happened that I didn't tell you about today. So if you're ever wanting to know, you can look through those as well. And it's just a nice one-stop shop to see them. And then back to Pat, do you have the export include, can you have the export include a link to the attachment? Tell me what you mean by that. Like when I export this, you want to link back to the dialogue, or what do you mean? I export to Excel and it has the name of the file, but it's not clickable. Did you put in your email address? Because it's going to email it to you. Versus like, I know when you download things before it'll come up. Okay, you got the email. Let's go ahead and have you can send that over to me after I send it over to your CSM, so we can take a look and see kind of what's going on with that. Okay. Perfect. All right, let's go through now and talk about, oh, here we go, what's to come in 2025. So you all have heard me talk nonstop about this call center. We're going to be rolling out even more features to be streamlining your options inside of here. So you no longer need to be relying on your physical phones with our call center feature. If you want to use our browser, you can do that from any location. If you have any interest in the call center, or if you're like, can I just see a demo? Like, I'm curious, you've been talking about this, but I don't know what this looks like. Reach out to your CSM. We'd be more than happy to kind of walk you through this, but we're going to be continuing those enhancements that are coming. It's a really, really cool feature. So definitely, if you would like to see one, reach out. One that I'm really excited about is the ITSM, ITAM capabilities that are coming. So if you're like, what does that even mean? It stands for IT Service Management and IT Asset Management, aka tech ticketing. So this is going to be an add-on offer where we're expanding service management tools. We have a secure customer portal, advanced workflows, seamless data integration. Our ITAM solution unifies all critical IT asset information into one platform, streamlining your services and asset management for your team. So if your district is in a budget crunch, and I know there's probably no one on this call who's like, I'm not worried about my budget, we can save you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars by continuing to streamline your tools into one unified solution. So Olivia's going to launch another poll for us. If you'd like to learn more about this when it becomes available, please let us know in the poll. There are some open-ended short answer questions. If you want to fill those out, great. If you don't, that's okay too. This poll just kind of lets us know to streamline for the beginning of the year, like who should I be reaching out to first? Like if you're somebody that you're like, oh, I'm not really interested in this year, then we'll make sure that we get a demo for somebody who is interested when it becomes available. So it's going to be a really cool feature. It's definitely worth at least exploring. And again, this should launch early 2025. So as soon as we know more, we'll be sharing more, and we will most likely do an office hours on it as well. But just want to kind of gauge your interest right now. And then you've heard me talk a lot about those AI features. We're going to continue to build those out in Let's Talk. So we had those dialogue themes, and then you got to see in the chatbot dashboard how those themes were applied with the summaries. Those are now going to be coming into your main dashboard. So you'll be getting that theme breakdown, that summary breakdown. It's going to be really cool, really helpful. It's going to help you understand the trends. On top of that, you're going to be able to say, how does my district compare to another district of my size? How does my district compare to other districts in the state? How does my district compare to districts who are having this unique piece associated with them? So it's just going to help you even break it down even more into your data, which is going to be really cool. Right, before we get to our last, which is our poll, I see a few. Oh, Lisa, all right, easy, refreshed, and now it worked. Love it. Making my life easy. All right, because this is now the good part. Y'all have hung on. We're down to the very end where we're going to, I'm going to close that out, do our drawing. So Olivia helped me get this all ready for everyone. And we will share our screen. And if not, Olivia, do you want me to stop sharing and share your screen?
Oh, yep, I'm about to send you the link.
Perfect, thank you. And then for those of you that joined us last year, we have a cool spinny wheel.
All right.
We'll go into there. Now, the other nice thing about this is you had to be present to win. So for all those people who RSVP'd, they're not part of this. This is only present folks. Here we go. And then we pull this over. We also have kind of a quote unquote smaller group today. So, all right, here we go. Drum roll, we're doing 4. So, all right, Teresa, yay! Congrats. let me make sure I'm writing these down. I'll be sending you over a $25 Amazon gift card for you to choose however you would like going forward. Let's go ahead and get our next person. Teresa's out of here, so she can't win again. Roger, awesome, congrats. I like the confetti that goes off. All right, here we go. 2 more. Big money, big money. Joanne, awesome, congrats. Whew, it's even a little cheer in that one. Woo. All right, one more. Let's see who our lucky holiday winner will be. And Matt, awesome. I think I met you at Innsbruck. Congrats. We have a winner. Well, thank you all so much for attending our office hours, for being with us every day of the year, for attending throughout this whole year. We will not be back in December. We're going to let everybody wrap up for the year, hopefully enjoy some time with friends, with family, and we will be back in January. So keep your eye on your email. I'll be sending out reminders of when that's come and RSVP links. If you do have a topic that you'd love to see covered in 2025, reply back to the email that I'll send tomorrow with the recap. Would love to hear from you all. I'd be more than happy if you're like, gosh, Sharon, it'd be really helpful if you could dive more into XYZ. I'd be more than happy to. Would love that feedback. So thank you all so much for coming today. Cheers to a successful 2024. And I hope we all have an even better 2025.